Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. I hope that you enjoyed the CNSL Season 6. We just wrapped that up. If you didn't see it, there are so many VODs for you. I feel lucky for you. That was a great tournament, but now on to some other tournaments, some other matches going on. Right now we're revisiting a tournament that we've done only 1 week of so far, and that's the GAN Race Survival Series. Now, I've done a lot of the Survival Series type games before and matches before, whether it's with Chinese players, Korean players, etc. But this is a very specific league, and you can find the playlist on this channel as well for week 1, where it is 2 Chinese teams and 1 Korean team, right? So really interesting there. Obviously, the Korean teams are going to be favored, but you might have noticed, if you recall, in week 1, the Korean team was eliminated. They did end up losing, and it was a Terran team on top of that. So pretty impressive stuff from our Chinese players. But looking at this, we have 2 Chinese teams, of course. Once again, it's going to be Protoss and Terran against the Zerg team from Korea. So up here in the top right of Butter, we have Loup. Loup, I actually didn't know anything about until we started this. Loup is a professional Terran player in China. He's actually won a fair amount of money, too. He has really good results. So, that's the thing. The Chinese scene is actually very, very deep. They have a lot of good players. Really the only country that can kind of go against lower level Korean pros, right? Obviously, like, you put them against Light and Snow and Queen and stuff like that, they're not really going to have that much of a chance. But against some of these other pros, they definitely do. You can see all the players in that bottom right corner, but yeah, this is down here in the bottom right. Saber, we've casted a lot of his games before. He did have an unfortunate show match against Mihu, but he's done very well in other ones. So he is a very strong Zerg player. And yeah, let's see what he can do here. He's going for the hatchery first. He did scout Loup pretty quickly, so was able to harass a little bit with that drone, which of course is pretty darn annoying. Loup right now going for some sort of tech play. Obviously this could be like just a quick factory with a vulture into mech. It could be a quick vulture, into command center with a Valkyrie rush. It could be a 2-port Wraith. There's a lot of things that you can do off of this. He does immediately pull 2 SCVs off of the gas to get this factory started. And very annoyingly, already a kill here for Saber. Taking down an SCV is a very strong thing to do with your early drone, and very annoying for Terran, of course. One thing to mention, looking at these actual lineups as well, Saber is the weakest Zerg for Team Korea. They have 815 also, who, is maybe the cheesiest player. I talk about Zealot a lot being the most aggressive player, but 815 is a straight cheese fest. Like, he does like 4 pulls and stuff all the time, despite that getting into ASL. And then we have Saxtree, who is actually one of the most underrated Zergs. I definitely think he's like a top 10 Zerg in the world. So a very strong player. I wouldn't be surprised if Saxtree is actually able to kind of carry this Zerg team if the other 2 fall. And I'd be surprised if he wasn't the last one put out as well. But anyways, Loup right now, he's scouting with that SCV a little bit. We have the factory making that first vulture and the command center going down. 3 on gas and an armory coming up. So that's a very fast armory. This looks like it is going to be a mech build, right? A 2-base mech build coming out of Loup here. Now, there is a Hydralisk Den being made. I don't know that he actually saw that, though. Look, right now, Saber's working hard to try to keep that SCV away from seeing this Hydralisk Den. It is pretty popular to get a Hydralisk Den against these types of openers, in case there's Wraiths, in case the Vulture tries anything sneaky. But he'll run down, see the Sunken Colony, and you can't really run past it. So probably just sit there and watch for Zerglings coming out. Hydralisk speed on the way for Saber here. Actually didn't expect that completely. And Aspire does get started. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. I actually like, against some of these teched out builds, the Hydralisk Den plus Spire opening. It's something I've seen Sulky do that I think is actually pretty darn good, because you kind of are safe with the Hydras, and you can kind of fake going for aggression, and then you just go into Mutas, and it's like, oh, you better have been building Goliaths this whole time. Kind of keeps Terran pretty honest with these types of builds. But I think they are actually aimed more towards the Valkyrie rushes. Now, the two Hydras pushing out, they don't, you know, Vultures before Hydras have like speed and range actually do very well against them. You can kind of out micro Hydras, but they will just push it back and then come back here as well. Looks like he's going towards that main base. He is fearing the possibility of a drop ship that could come in. So not the correct read, but a safe one. Double factory is going. Range actually like almost halfway done before the second factory finishes. That's kind of some funny ordering coming out of Loup here. Really focusing on getting that range upgrade down. He wants to have it before the Mutalisks hit, and he will have it as they get there, which will make the defense a little bit easier. So I kind of like that. Although without the quicker second factory, you know, it can make you a little bit nervous. You'll have like maybe one less Goliath than you would otherwise. So second gas is going up, which means we'll see the third factory very, very soon. Or a starport. There is the possibility of a starport, but that's pretty uncommon with mech. You generally want to get to that third factory against Zerg very, very quickly. And with 7 mutas being built, a great number. That's where you can start one-shotting those SCVs with your harassment. And the third hatchery goes down here for Saber. So the mutas start to fly up the map, but as we mentioned before, right, that was one of the quicker Goliath range upgrades that I've seen. And he's trying to anticipate where the mutas will end up first. So he's kind of got a centralized location, sends a second Goliath in this direction, and there you go. He does see him. As long as you see him on their first pass, you can kind of defend against them. But you never know. Like, they could have come in from this angle. Well, I guess that's why he has his barracks here, because any smart place that the mutas would fly would go over this, right? You wouldn't go way around because it takes too long to get there. So actually, I love that barracks placement. That was really, really smart from Loup. Now, the mutas come in and will start this harassment. The 7th muta gets here. Not a lot of damage yet. The Goliaths are actually doing a great job defending right now. Burrow on the way. That is actually pretty common against mech, by the way, because you don't get academies quickly, and you definitely don't get science vessels quickly with mech. So you can actually burrow Zerglings everywhere and see exactly where the army is. It also can help against like vulture raids because you can just burrow all your drones and they would have to scan and target to get them. So very, very good upgrade to get. I would say it worth that 100 minerals, 100 gas. It's honestly the earliest macro play we ever see burrow is in this situation. Occasionally you'll see burrow later game against Protoss as well. Sometimes they catch shuttles on certain maps, but not even that often, honestly. One of the, you know, I would say burrow is one of the more underused upgrades in the entire game. It's definitely good, right? But like 100 is pretty significant, right? Like that's a Mutalisk that you could have had. I wonder, leave me your comments below what you think about burrow. Should it be used more? Is it something that as StarCraft 1 continues to evolve, are we going to see the pros really utilize it more and more and more? Because it's very, very underused. So anyways, 5 factories are up. It looks like we're going to have a 5-factory Goliath timing. Siege tanks have been started. He hasn't even left his base yet. So yeah, this is a pretty all-in play that we have from Loup, but it's actually a pretty strong build too. This is a build that terrorized the ladder a couple years ago for like a month, where I think it was more than a couple years ago. It's hard to keep track, right? Like Remastered has surprisingly been out for 6 years now, so I think it was closer to 4 years ago. But yeah, about 4 years ago, this Goliath build was extremely popular. It's still good to mix in sometimes, but it's basically you get like 2 to 3 tanks and like 2 groups of Goliaths, and you just kind of go across the map with 1-1 and try to kill your opponent. But yeah, it's strong. You have a really, really good army, and Zerg has to macro well to stop it or use tricks. You know, you could do things like hold position lurker if you don't think they're going to get comsat, which in this case we actually do not see an academy, so that would end up being very, very strong. You know, other than that, it's like, well, you're not going to really get a science vessel with this. It's too much gas, it's too many buildings, too much tech. But yeah, mass Hydra can work. Mass Muta generally doesn't work against this because you get so many Goliaths. This is a lot of Mutas coming in, by the way. Now he's going to fly in and kill off that turret extremely quickly. The Goliath's going to come in and hold it for the most part. Honestly, harassment right now Loup doesn't care about that at all because he just wants to do this push out. Notice he's bringing some SCVs as well. They can repair as well as build turrets. It is going to be a 2 siege tank rush, 5 Goliaths at a time being made. And yeah, these, like, if he stops reinforcements, that can be good, but Loup's attack has a decent chance here. There's like nothing at home. By the way, 2 more hatcheries going down. So Saber kind of taking a bunch of bases here, which will help if damage occurs, right? Like maybe those extra bases will give him the income that he needs. But look at this march of Goliaths. With only 1 sunken here, he doesn't even need those siege tanks. Only Mutas being made. If he starts building a bunch of turrets, that could be very, very helpful. The 2 siege tanks get it up in here, and just putting out any damage is going to be good. He doesn't want the splash, of course, to be hurting his Goliaths too much. Got to be careful about that, but he is breaking through immediately. In the meantime, Saber has done a ton of damage here, right? Like only 36 SCVs. That's pretty low. And he's not mining from his natural at the moment. More Sunkens being made, just trying to slow him down. He does have these other bases. So still trying to make something happen. Getting that +1 carapace. He does already have the +1 attack for his Mutalisks. And stopping reinforcements. So this is a gigantic flock. A gigantic flock of Mutas. And what he's hoping to do is to bleed him down, to slow him down while he continually makes Mutalisks, and then just kill him with it. Now, he jumps on top of this command center. It looks like we have a base trade scenario going down. A ton of SCVs will end up falling, and Loup just going for it, as he well should. This egg actually screwing him up so badly at the moment. Decides to leave here as there's so many Sunkens. Maybe going to go after this 3rd base location instead. The Muta's starting to fly home. What do we have here? We have like 30 Mutas about. Right around 30 Mutalisks. And that should be enough to pretty easily kill 1 group of Goliaths, right? Like, he lost some during this attack because he was trying to do it with the utmost speed. Yeah, I think Saber's just going to jump on this and he'll kill everything. Well, it's not that I think, I know. So he is going to do that. Flies in with his Mutas, and Loup not going to have enough. He lost his command center here. There's no real comeback potential. These bases really assured that. So he does end up holding this all in with a pure Mutalisk build. Saber with some good macro, with some good decision-making on those counterattacks, and Loup with no real chance remaining. Pulls back to those missile turrets. And, well, I mean, he's got some Goliaths, but this is not enough to take out 30 Mutas, that's for sure. And, I mean, as these come up, obviously, Loup is going to have to GG. And that means that the first game here is going to go to the Korean Zerg team. And we'll see what they can do against a Chinese Protoss player coming up next. Just waiting for these Goliaths to die. Some nice micro, right? Like microing back that 1 group that Saber was going after. But really, even attack move at this point, I think, would probably be enough. Because he does have so much income starting up across the map right now. GG!